Jonathan Lee Riches Investigates. I am covering the tragedy in Moscow, Idaho. 4 college students brutally stabbed in a home in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. Who did it? Who's responsible? Police have made 0 arrests. They haven't named any suspect or suspects. Now, there's a lot of online rumors going on right now about a neighbor that lives right by the house. His name is Jeremy Reagan. Jeremy Reagan. He's given multiple interviews to numerous media outlets, and since he gave these interviews, people are speculating it's him. They're thinking it's him based off the way he gave the interviews, looking at his facial features and his, they were just talking about his hands and whatnot. Now, I've been in communication with Jeremy. We've been exchanging texts with one another, and yesterday I saw a post that someone identifying themselves as Jeremy Reagan made, wanting to set the record straight. And it said a lot. So I reached out to Jeremy and asked him first if he's the one that made the post, just to verify if it's him. He says yes. He said yes, he's tired of the online rumors and whatnot, and he wanted to set the record straight. Now, this is what he said. Jeremy Reagan speaks. He told me he did post this on a thread. I will read this to you right now. Jeremy here, a couple of preliminary matters. Number 1, this is a throwaway account, so I don't get harassed on my main account. Number 2, y'all need to stop blaming me for something had nothing to do with. Yes, I am an incredibly awkward person, but that does not mean I have hurt or attempted to anyone. 3, I did not ask to do any of the interviews or seek them out in any way, nor did I claim to have any beneficial information about what happened. I was approached every time to do an interview and told the reporter beforehand that I did not know anything. They still wanted to interview me due to proximity, so I said sure. Number 3, for the first interview, the reporter knocked on my front door and asked if I could do an interview since I live so close. For the second interview, I was taking my trash out to the dumpster before I left for Thanksgiving break, and the reporter approached me while I still had the trash in my hand and asked if I'll do an interview. Obviously, she let me throw it out before doing the interview. I'm the type of person that will do something for someone else if doing so won't cause me physical or financial harm, hence the reason I said yes to the interviews. I also didn't expect to be contacted by the national news outlets. I was shopping with my grandmother when I received emails from CNN and Fox and friends stating that they saw my interviews and wanted me on for an interview on their network. I told them I didn't know anything, but like the other reporters, they still wanted me on because of how close I live. Now that that's out of the way, to some of the rumors. Number 1, I do not work at, nor have I ever worked at, the bagel shop, Moscow Bagels. I've only eaten food from there 3 to 4 times since I've been in Moscow. The photo of my face staring into the sky like I'm daydreaming is clearly Photoshop. The Photoshop skills are almost good enough that you can't see the original head underneath where my face was placed. The other photo I've seen with 4 people outside and a guy with similar facial hair and hat does not include me. The guy's chin is too skinny to me, and he is too tall. I also don't own a hat like that, the one he is wearing. Number 2, yes, I rambled on during the interviews. The first interview I did, black t-shirt, had the majority of what I said edited out, so I figured the second one, beanie and coat, would be the same way. I was wrong because clearly most of what I said was aired in the second interview. I did change the verb tense of a sentence part way through, but that was because what my brain was trying to say and what my mouth was saying would have come out incoherent if I hadn't corrected the tense. Don't act like none of you have ever changed a few words when speaking because you realize the sentence would have sounded weird without the correction. It's a normal thing to do when you are speaking about something you didn't know you were going to be speaking about. Number 3, yes, I have my thumbs in thumb holes during that second interview. It wasn't bandages. I wasn't trying to hide anything. Having my thumb in the thumb holes is the natural position when I put my arms in my sleeves because they're built into my coat sleeves. Plus, it was cold outside. If I was trying to hide any injuries, why would I have worn nothing but a t-shirt during my first interview? Don't you think either of the two people speaking with me would have noticed something on my arms and hands? Some of you are trying to use logic so hard that you forget logic exists when reaching out your ridiculous conclusions. Number 4, yes, I said I would see people through the windows while I was taking my dog out. That doesn't mean I was creepy or staring in their windows. First of all, go find the video from the interview room on YouTube because the people went to the location and filmed everything in the area to give a complete picture of what the entire neighborhood looks like. Second, the staircase that is directly across the driveway from the house that leads to a large grassy field across Taylor Avenue is the path my dog uses to get to and from the field and my apartment. If I were to walk up the stairs and walk in a completely straight line from there, I would walk directly into the front of the house. Where else am I supposed to look when my direct line of sight forward is straight at the house? Do you want me to stare at my feet like a weirdo? Do none of you ever look at your surroundings as you walk? Oops, sorry. All of you wannabe internet detectives probably haven't seen actual sunlight in years. There's nothing creepy or weird about noticing my surroundings as I'm walking back to my apartment, especially if there is movement in the windows because people are moving around inside. 4, I've never been inside the house. The one time I was even within feet of the house was when I found a phone left on the staircase mentioned above in the last semester. I went around to all the houses in the neighborhood to see if anyone knew whose phone it was because I figured someone had lost it after leaving one of the parties at the night before. A woman answered the door and said she didn't know who the phone belonged to, so I went to the next house. That is the only time I've interacted with anyone living at 1122 King Road, and it was different people that lived there at the time. Number 5, I did not know any of the people even though they also had a dog. I also don't know the names of anyone else in this area who has a dog either. I could identify most of all the people in this area that have dogs if you were to place them in a lineup, but I couldn't tell you any of their names. Before the incident, none of them could tell you my name either. None of you personally know me, but if you were to ask literally any person at the dog park I go to other than the one person I go to school with if they knew my name or if I knew theirs, every single person would say no. I take my dog there, put on my headphones, and walk around as my dog runs and plays with the other dogs. I don't talk with people that I don't know because I don't like small talk and I don't care about their personal life. Maybe that's something like Asperger's or autism. Maybe I'm just antisocial and awkward. Unless and until I get tested, the world may never know. 5.1, you can ask just about every person I go to school with if I am a social butterfly. They'll all likely say no because I don't talk with most of the people. I have my very small group and I talk with, and that's about it. I'll have a conversation with someone if they start talking to me, but I rarely start the conversation because that's just not my personality. So when you all come to me saying I'm acting awkward in an interview or smiling when I shouldn't be, that's partly me being nervous to talk to someone on camera and partly my nature. Natural awkward position, personality, and lack of social awareness. If you have noticed, I barely have social media, and what little I do have doesn't involve pictures. That's because I don't like cameras. I'm not scared of being filmed or having my picture taken, but I'm not a fan of cameras in general. So that is a statement by Jeremy Reagan, who confirmed with me that he wrote this. So Jeremy says a lot. He says he's not involved, he didn't do it, and he explains his routine, and he pours his heart out. I believe Jeremy. I don't think he's involved in this whatsoever. I've been communicating with him in text. We've been going back and forth for the last few days. Nice guy, he has a dog, and he lives in the area. That's it. He's not involved. I don't think he's involved. He's claiming he's not. Let's move on from Jeremy and focus on other people. If you want to focus on Jeremy, that's on you. But I'm not focusing on Jeremy, and I recommend that people don't focus on Jeremy. You know, guy's just trying to live his life. You know, who did it though? Who did it? Who do you think did it? Who do you think's responsible for this crime? It's unsolved. Community's on edge. Finger pointing everywhere. Tensions are high. A lot of pressure on law enforcement to get something done. Hopefully, law enforcement gets answers soon and holds someone accountable for what they did. Poor families affected. Their families and their families' associates and their friends all affected by this. It's not just the 4 families itself. It's thousands of people affected by one person or a couple people's actions. Praying for the family. Praying for the community. Subscribe to my channel. I got lots of videos. I'm covering this case at all angles. And I got more interesting stuff coming out soon. So stay tuned. Everyone be safe. God bless.